time. So slick, skin tight. I'm gonna make that body mine. You turn me on, you make me wild. You drive
Hey movie junkies, welcome back to Twin Flicks, where we always here celebrating magic movies and most importantly, physical media with you. So obviously, as you can tell, this is the second review of the Toxic Avenger saga on 4K UHD. If you haven't checked it out, we previously compared the differences here between Toxic Avenger 1 and the previous release Blu-ray. Major 9-day difference. There's some really interesting aspects of this 4K as well. So if you haven't checked out that review, the link will be at the end of this review. But today, obviously, we are going to take a look at the Toxic Avenger Part 2. Now, when Toxic Avenger Part 2 was released on Blu-ray, there was a major mistake made with the transfer. Somehow the resolution was at 720p rather than having the new 1080p HD transfer. The Blu-ray literally looks like as if the movie was just badly ported over from an old DVD. It was so bad that outlets like blu-ray.com, High Def Digest didn't even give the video a rating. And for some reason the problem was just never corrected until now, where Toxic Avenger has a fresh, new 2160p 4K restoration from the original 35mm negative, a native 4K DI with HDR10 grading, and the corrected intended ratio of 1:5:1, and the 4K restoration was handled by Vinegar Syndrome and supervised by Lord Kaufman to ensure complete accuracy of the movie. Also, I was just informed the other day by a good friend of the show and a friend of mine that there is a misprint on the back of the sleeve where it states this is the domestic 102-minute cut, when really it's the director's international cut at 109 minutes. So I want to give a huge thanks to Nani for bringing that to my attention. Alright guys, so let's dive in and compare the differences here between Toxic Avenger Part 2, the 4K UHD, and its very trashed 2015 Blu-ray. And you're going to want to stick around to the end of this review for a rundown of the special features. Let's get to it. So as I said previously, the Blu-ray somehow was sourced from a lousy 720p scan, and the differences here compared to the Blu-ray is to the point where I wasn't even sure if it was even worth comparing the two, because this isn't even just a major 9 difference. This is almost a different looking movie compared to the Blu-ray. And when the Blu-ray came out, artificially darkened the image and boosted the warmth, where the image had a lot of crushing in areas. Details, especially the gore and makeup effects, are engulfed. The 4K UHD fixes all of this from beginning to end, allowing us to see in detail all the great carnage, gore, and makeup effects in all its trauma glory, while still remaining completely faithful to that classic trauma low-budget look that fans love. The color reproduction is even more stunning here, giving the movie its original color grading as Kaufman and Hearst intended it to look. I mean, right off the bat, it's very noticeable with the title cards. The Toxic Avenger Part 2 title cards isn't supposed to be orange as it is on the Blu-ray. It's yellow. And that's the way I always remembered seeing it, and that's the way it was supposed to look. Primary colors, reds are also stronger with bright, vibrant candy reds and those deeper blood crimson reds. Yellows are electric and blues are cooler and more natural looking. Hues are also more appealing, looking stronger from pinks, purples, or oranges, and all the earthy tones. Just looks fantastic. Saturation is increased, and this helps in pumping new life into the image without it looking artificially boosted or too hot, along with contrast that's dialed in just right to give the image natural brightness. The entire presentation just really pops off the screen, staying loyal to that vibrant comic book-ish like look, the way Lloyd Kaufman envisioned it to look. Black levels on the Blu-ray were all over the place, from bright blacks to heavy crushing, engulfing details, and even colors. It was just a hot mess. The 4K now delivers those solid blacks that are deeper and richer shadows that are very consistent and stable, drawing out more details and colors and just information in the image that was otherwise lost on the Blu-ray, along with brighter natural whites that really helps with daylight scenes, giving these scenes much more authenticity, which is the complete opposite of the Blu-ray, where daylight scenes look dull or even muted. But now here's a major improvement over the Blu-ray that I'm excited about, and that's with the abundance of details and textures. And with the higher 2160p resolution, giving the image more lines with razor sharp precision, or at least as sharp as low-budget 80s lenses can provide. Example here is the skin of Toxic Avenger with all the toxic damage makeup effects that reveals more complexity. The entire production design is excellent, from interiors showing off all Tromaville in its sick, dilapidating state, but also Japan, showing off all the buildings and locations. The bitrate ranges from around 73 topping out at 98 or 100 Mbps, and the grain structure is very nicely resolved here and looking tighter, giving us a beautiful 35mm grain field with a nice filmic appearance. Alright, now let's get into the audio presentation of this 4K UHD, and just like the first one, this also comes with a new lossless DTS stereo track that is sourced from the original stereo mix. The audio track honestly isn't the best. A big issue is with the dialogue. Not that the dialogue isn't clear, but the mix has inherited hissing and also some background hums during dialogue exchanges, just as the first 4K also does. It's not constantly there, but it's still there. The movie score and pop tracks aren't very sharp or dynamic either, and even a tad out of sync, and sound effects sound a little too blunt. It's a pretty weak stereo track that just can't be helped, again because of low budget constraints, but it's still much better than what we got on the Blu-ray. Alright, so my score for Troma's 4K UHD presentation of the Toxic Avenger Part 2, I'm giving the video presentation a resounding 5 out of 5. This is a majorly impressive night and day difference here between the 4K and the Blu-ray. As for the audio, I have to give it a 3 out of 5. But now here's your turn to chime in. I want to hear what you have to say. When you look at the differences here between the two formats, the Blu-ray and the 4K UHD, which do you think looks better? Head over to the comment section and let me know. Alright, now let's dig into all the special features. And unfortunately, number 2 has the least amount of special features, but it does include a new intro from Lloyd Kaufman, an auto commentary with Lloyd Kaufman, and a really funny parody called At Home with Toxie. Also, another fun one, Toxie on Japanese TV, with some behind-the-scenes footage of the production during their filming in Japan. It also includes a brief interview with Troma's go-to villain, Lady Gay, and her history with Troma. We also have a featurette of 40 years of Troma and theatrical trailers of all 4 movies. Alright guys, well thanks so much for hanging out with me and talking about Toxic Avenger Part 2 in 4K UHD and comparing it to the previous release Blu-ray. But as always guys, keep physical media alive, and we'll see you next time with the Toxic Avenger Part 3.